You stand in front of the mirror, and before you even think about it, your hand reaches for the flat iron. Your curls are doing their own thing this morning, and somewhere along the way you decided that meant wild, messy, not put together. So you smooth, you straighten, you tame. But here's the truth nobody tells curly-haired women over 60. Your curls were never the problem. The method you were taught to use on them was. Get one detail wrong and you get flatness, frizz, and shapeless ends. Get it right, and everything changes. Stay with me, because number 5 might surprise you the most. Welcome back, beautiful. I am so glad you're here. And if this is your first time with us, you landed in the right place. Because we talk about style that works for real women, real mornings, real mirrors, and real life. And I want you to hear this clearly before we go any further. Curls do not expire at 60, not even close. So let's get into the method, because I promise you, none of this requires a drastic change, a chop, or a shave. It just requires knowing what your curls actually need. The first one on our list is what I call the curl type check, and I know what some of you are thinking. I've had this hair my whole life. I don't need to relearn it. But stay with me, because most women have been using the wrong products for their exact curl pattern for decades. Not because they weren't paying attention, but because nobody ever actually explained the difference between a loose wave, a defined curl, and a tighter coil. And when the products don't match the pattern, you get exactly what you've probably been fighting for years. Clumps that separate instead of forming, frizz that shows up out of nowhere, and a texture that feels unpredictable. The fix is simple. Ask your stylist to actually diagnose your curl pattern before recommending a single product. Look closely at how your hair springs back when it's wet. That tells you everything. This is the foundation, and it changes how every other tip on this list works for you. But the pattern isn't even the biggest mistake. That one's coming up next. Here's the one most women don't expect. It's your shampoo, and specifically, how much of it you're using. Now, I know sulfate-free can feel like it's not really cleaning your hair. That squeaky, stripped feeling is what we've been taught to associate with clean, but that feeling is actually the enemy of soft, defined curls. Stripping shampoo pulls out the natural oil your curls need to hold their shape, and what you're left with is dry, frizzy, static strands that fight you all day. The right version feels gentler, almost too gentle, but the result is glossy, defined clumps instead of a frizzy halo. Look for a sulfate-free formula, or better yet, try a co-wash a few times a week. Your curls will feel different almost immediately. And now, here's the one most women skip completely, and it's the one that saves the most time. It's called the curl refresh method, and it sounds like extra effort, but trust me, it's actually less work than what you're doing now. So many women rewash and completely restyle their hair every single day because their curls go flat overnight. That's exhausting, and it's not necessary. A 60-second refresh spray, applied upside down with a gentle scrunch upward, brings the bounce right back without a full wash. This is the detail that separates a polished, intentional look from one that feels flat and tired by afternoon. Ask for a lightweight leave-in refresher. Keep it in your shower caddy and use it every morning before you even reach for a brush. This one habit alone can completely change how your curls look by 9 a.m. Now, before we go any further, I want to know something from you. Which mistake have you been making? Is it the shampoo, the heat, or something we haven't even talked about yet? Drop it in the comments, because I read every single one. Now back to the list, because this next one is exactly where the mistake usually hides, and it's a big one. This next one sounds wrong until you actually see it in action, and it's the diffuser angle nobody explains properly. If diffusing feels too fussy, too trendy, or just not something you've ever bothered with, I understand. But here's the truth. The tool was never the problem. The angle was. Most women point the diffuser straight down at the roots, which presses the crown flat and leaves the whole look lacking lift. Tilt your head instead and diffuse upward at the roots first, on medium heat. That single shift lifts the crown, adds volume where it's been missing, and keeps the ends from getting fried. This is the detail that separates a flat, tired look from one that feels alive and lifted the moment you walk out the door. But even beautifully diffused curls fall apart without the next thing on this list, so don't skip it. This is the one that surprises even elegant women, because it's about the cut itself, and specifically, cutting for your curls instead of against them. If you've ever left a trim feeling like your curls shrank up or looked shorter than you expected, this is exactly why. Most salons cut curly hair the same way they cut straight hair, in blunt, even lines, and that's precisely why it looks boxy and triangular once it dries and springs back into shape. The right version is a dry cut, shaped curl by curl, so the stylist can see exactly how each piece falls and moves. Ask specifically for this. Bring a reference photo of curls similar to yours, not a straight-haired photo, because that almost never translates. A dry cut creates a soft, rounded shape that frames your face instead of fighting it, and it draws the eye upward toward your eyes and your cheekbones, instead of down toward a shape that feels heavy. The next one is simple, but do not underestimate it, because it might be undoing everything you just fixed. It's your pillowcase, and I promise you, this one matters more than it sounds like it should. A regular cotton pillowcase creates friction all night long, and that friction is quietly frizzing and flattening your curls while you sleep, undoing your entire morning routine before you even wake up. The fix is almost too easy. A satin or silk pillowcase reduces that friction dramatically. Or, if you'd rather, gather your curls into a loose, high pineapple using a scrunchie instead of a tight elastic. Either option means you wake up with curls that still have their shape and their shine, instead of a flattened crown and crushed ends. This is such a small change, but it might be the one that finally makes your morning routine feel effortless instead of like damage control. And now, here's the one that ties everything else together. This last one isn't a product or a technique. It's a mindset, and it might be the most important thing on this entire list. So many of us were taught to control our curls, to spray them into place, to hold them still, to keep them from moving too much. But that instinct, the one that feels like it's keeping things neat, is actually what makes curls look stiff, tired, and flat. The right approach is the opposite. Let them move. Choose a lightweight finishing product instead of a heavy gel that crunches and hardens. Avoid anything that locks the curl in place like a helmet. Let the air do the final shaping instead of your hands. Soft, natural movement catches the light in a way that stiff, controlled curls simply cannot, and that movement is what reads as fresh, alive, and effortlessly polished, not messy. And that brings us to the real secret behind everything we just covered. It was never about the curl type, or the shampoo, or the diffuser, or even the cut. Not really. Every single one of those things comes back to the same idea: movement. Movement is what makes curls look alive instead of aging. Control is what flattens them, dries them out, and makes them feel stiff and stuck in time. Once you stop fighting your curls and start working with the way they naturally want to move, everything else falls into place. If this gave you something new to think about, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this reach more women who need to hear it. Subscribe if you want more real, affordable style advice made specifically for women over 50 and 60, because we're here every single week with exactly that. And I would love to know, which one of these are you trying first? Tell me in the comments, and if there's a topic you want us to cover next, I read every single suggestion. I hope this gives you something to take with you the next time you're standing in front of that mirror, reaching for a flat iron out of old habit. Your curls were never the problem, and they never needed fixing. They needed the right method, that's all. Stay stylish, stay confident, and remember, your best years are not behind you. They are happening right now, and you deserve to feel absolutely beautiful in them.